So you may have experienced school hamsters, school goldfish, school guinea pigs and all that sort of thing.
You used to get to take them home sometimes in the holidays, didn't you, to look after?
You did.
Pass around the class.
At St Edward's Primary School in Cheltenham, they have gone a little step further and a little more exotic, it has to be said.
Yeah, they've already got goats and chickens. Now the school has 4 alpacas, including a baby.
Alpaca.
Alpacas.
That's like a llama.
It's like a llama.
With a big neck.
Yes.
And a lot of fur.
Well, we'll see one in a minute.
Yeah, OK.
However, animal rights group PETA are outraged by this. They've called it speciesism. And we're going to be hearing from their spokesperson, Jennifer White, who's in the studio with us this morning. But first, let's head over to the school where Headmaster Stephen McKernan is there live. This is St Edward's School, as we said, in Cheltenham. Good morning, Stephen. And there you are, feeding the alpacas. Who have you got with you this morning?
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning and welcome to St Edward's Prep School in Cheltenham. The sun is shining bright. Charlotte and Seb are just enjoying feeding our wonderful alpacas. You can see how well they're looking, but you're very welcome.
But what do you do with them, Stephen? What use are they?
So basically, this is essentially about educating children about respect and care of animals. The project started off with a few chickens, Eamon, and it developed. And the most important thing in schools is that you follow children's voice. So over the past 18 months, the children have been, during lunchtime, a farm club that we have, they've been constantly asking for how do we develop the farm, how do we educate children more about animals. And this is what this is about, essentially care and respect for animals and teaching it to children at the youngest point.
OK. Well, let's go to Jennifer White from PETA, and we'll come back to you very shortly, Stephen. But you've made this claim, this is speciesism. What is that, first of all?
So speciesism is the belief that humans are superior to all other animals. And that's how humans justify exploiting them, whether that's in factory farms for their flesh, whether that's when they're locked up in zoos, or whether that's when they're brought into schools, you know, for children to have a bit of amusement on their lunch breaks.
Well, but then Stephen's saying it's not amusement. This is about teaching them responsibility and caring for an animal and having to do that day to day, whatever the weather. You know, do you not think that that is something, it's part of the curriculum now?
Well, I'm all for teaching children about how to care and respect for animals, but the best way to do that is, you know, for teachers to teach children about what we already know about these animals, about their intelligence, about their sentience, about their emotional and their behavioural needs. And all of that can be done from within a classroom. You don't need to put these animals into an unnatural situation, which really isn't in their best interest.
But as you can see there, Jennifer, we see Stephen there with Charlotte and Seb helping out there. They're kept in a really nice environment. I mean, maybe better than they would be kept on a normal farm, as such. So, what would you say to him? I mean, he's not abusing these animals. There's no cruelty involved. They seem to be having a very nice life. So, what really is the harm?
Well, of course, we're not saying this is the worst thing that any animal on a farm would go through. But the harm is that no matter how well-intentioned, St Edward's is teaching children that these animals are props for amusement. And that propels this really horrible image for children.
OK, well, let's go to the headmaster then. Props for amusement, headmaster. That's the accusation.
So I can understand and I can respect that view that that does happen in some schools. Yes, I do. I am aware that some schools are brought on as pets to animals. This is exactly what this is not. This is about teaching children about care and respect for animals and looking after them all seasons. That means in the winter. Eamon, that means in December when everybody else has gone off on holidays. It means every single opportunity to look after them, to care for them and to respect them. And that needs to be part of the curriculum. And we at St Edward's are a very forward-thinking school. We're looking to the future. And we know that there's a clear link between looking after animals and the emotional well-being of children. We know that there's a clear link between the environment and looking after children, but it's about respect and care for animals. So we totally agree with that.
Have you seen any change in the behaviour of some of your pupils because of the animals that you have there?
So, absolutely. The first thing I would say is that there's a real sense of engagement and enjoyment, but particularly with children who have additional needs, who find it very difficult to predict animal behaviour, and they can't read that from books. They've got to experience it. And this is about transformative educational experiences. It's about giving children direct access to animals where
are
they
they
can.
subconsciously
and
or
at St Edward's
otherwise?
in Cheltenham, we're very happy to help other schools.
Yes, but Stephen, the accusation from Jennifer is that subconsciously or otherwise, you are teaching those children that they are superior to those animals. Are you aware of that? Are you intentionally doing that? Or what would you say to rebuff that?
So, Eamon, the first time I became aware of speciesism was when the news broke. And I have to be honest with you and your viewers, I didn't know what it meant, so I had to look it up. And then when I looked it up, I said, well, that's clearly not what we're about. All the animals in this farm, the chickens, the goats, the alpacas, are all treated with equal care. And that's one of the key messages for the children, is to treat all animals with equal care, that none of them are more important than anything else. And that's a key aspect of our mission as a school, which is equality and acceptance.
Okay.
And
Well,
that's what we're teaching here as well.
Jennifer.
Well, alpacas are herd animals, which means that their natural environment would not just be 4 of them cooped up in a pen. They would be roaming vast distances. And the whole thing is just in a completely unnatural environment for them. And that's what we're saying. It's the bigger picture. It's that these animals are not here to make children feel better. You know, children have their parents, they have their friends, they have their teachers. Those, you know, that's who's meant to make children feel better. It's not these animals who are, you know, not a natural part of their lives.
We've got viewers getting in touch as they're watching this today. Karen Tyres says, looking after animals makes children kinder and more empathetic. I think this is a brilliant idea. You wouldn't agree?
Well, for the alpacas, you know, they are also very skittish animals and they have very close family bonds. They're very protective over their young. And it could potentially be dangerous for the children to be around animals who are obviously much larger than them. And, you know, it's really detrimental to the animals.
Well, we keep talking about the children. Let's speak to Charlotte and Seb, who were there this morning. Can you hear us, Charlotte and Seb?
Yeah.
Tell us what you think about the alpacas and what you like about having them there at your school.
Well, it makes me feel like I have a responsibility in my school and not just on my class, on the animals. And I come here every lunchtime to help people who come here to learn how to help the alpacas.
And what have you learnt, Charlotte? What have you learnt from the animals?
Well, I learned that they need exactly the amount of care that we do to survive, and some people treat them like they're just a pet. You don't need to, like, care for them that much and, you know, just keep them as a pet and don't, you know, look after them properly.
OK, thank you.
The thing is, Jennifer, you're on to a bit of a loser here, I would imagine. I know you're not looking happy, right? But he cares for them. He is a headmaster. He's full-time farmer there with them as well. The general public are looking at this morning. It's a nice sunny day. They're going, this is very nice. What's there not to like? 2 lovely, you know, 9 and 10-year-olds there playing away. Everybody looks happy and relaxed. But yet you realise, for you, this is the wrong message.
Absolutely. There's so many ways that children can learn about animals, you know, from watching documentaries, learning about it in books. They can go to reputable animal sanctuaries where, you know, those animals, their best interests are the focus. And the problem as well, if one school starts doing this, you know, there'll be schools all over the country that might consider taking on these animals. And, you know, that's just really detrimental for how we perceive animals, you know, who are sentient living beings who should be free to do what comes naturally
Thanks,
to them.
Jennifer. Thank you very much. So the question we're asking you, is school the place to keep animals? OK, is that what you think? Leslie Adamson says, when I went to school, we had ferrets, we had rabbits, we had goats. They weren't looked after properly. Schools are not the places to keep animals. You may see a different story there from St Edward's in Cheltenham from Mr McKernan there. Stephen McKernan, thank you very much indeed, incidentally. Thank you for arguing your case and showing us around.
You're welcome, Eamon. A pleasure to speak to you. And just to say, there's 6 eggs, half a dozen eggs on the way to the studio for you that have been laid freshly this morning, and some famous banana bread from Cheltenham.
By chickens, I'm presuming, not alpacas.
No offence,
Chicken
but we've eaten enough so far today with our pizza, whatever it was. What was it? Pizzadilla.
Thank you very much,
Stephen McKernan, Charlotte
Jennifer.
McKernan and Seb Knight.
Thank you.
Jennifer, thank you. Jennifer's from PETA. Thank you.